Premiere. 1950s is the decade in which nothing much happened. Actually, it was a time of tremendous growth and development, and perhaps nowhere more than in Los Angeles. The population here would increase by 500,000 during that decade. And any lingering doubts from the 1940s about the success of television would be wiped away in a frenzy of TV buying and viewing. When people weren't watching TV or going to the movies in the 1950s, they were likely to be found in their new cars. New freeways were crisscrossing Los Angeles, and the latest cars looked like landlocked whales, getting somewhere around 8 miles to a gallon. What the heck? Gas was about 25 cents a gallon in those days. And you could actually move on the freeways, too. Hi, I'm Steve Allen. Paramount Pictures, the first owners of KTLA, let them use this converted garage as their first regular studios. Today, it's the home of KMEX, Channel 34, as I guess you've seen. KTLA bought an old movie theater on Melrose called the Melvan to house some of its audience variety programs. Today, the theater is gone, and on the site is the Raleigh Studios. But from the Melvan and other locations, KTLA continued to create a succession of new musical variety programs. In 1950, Dixie Showboat with Dick Lane as the ship's captain.
Thank you very much, and welcome to a visit of the Dixie Showboat to your fair town here of West Wego. We're mighty proud to see so many of you all out here to visit us.
It's Frosty Frolics, your musical comedy on ice.
In 1951, from the Pasadena Winter Garden Ice Palace, Frosty Frolics, hosted by Stan Chambers and done entirely on skates.
Won't you join me tonight on A Night in Paris?
But the show that really took off in 1951 was Ina Ray Hutton and her all-girl orchestra.
You know, we think we have a show tonight that has just about everything. Lots of your favorite songs, and those very glamorous Latin sisters, the Malagons, and including some of the nation's top comedy acts, Christine Nelson and Pansy the Horse. Necessary, I'm telling you, just about everything. Everything but what, Harriet?
When it came to popularity, nothing much could rival the success that would come to a young accordion player named Lawrence Welk. Klaus Landsberg decided to use Welk in his band in an experiment to see how a late-night musical program might fare. In May of 1951, Klaus put the Welk Show on at 11 p.m. in a live remote from the Aragon Ballroom at Ocean Park for a 4-week test. This is a kinescope recording of the 4th broadcast.
Well, let me ask you something. Did you ever lead an orchestra before?
No.
This is the first time, huh?
I'm very green at it.
Well, you want to take a try at it?
Try anything once.
Fine. Boys, put up the Bye Bye Blues. Bye Bye Blues. That's a very easy song. Bye,
I hope so.
Bye Blues. Okay, you come over here and give the boys a little downbeat, joint. Just like this here. That's the idea. Okay, take it over. Okay.
Producer-director Landsberg began watching the show with some doubts, but as it progressed, he became more and more convinced that he had found a winner. Never one for formality, just before Welk was about to say goodnight, Landsberg sent announcer Dick Garton to tell Welk the show was going to stay on the air.
KTLA has been proud to present this fine man and his fine band to you for the past 4 weeks, and we'll look forward once again to the return of Lawrence Welk and his champagne music. Maestro? Maestro, I can't leave with you without out saying that KTLA will cinch that deal.
Well,
To make sure. Right now, relaying the information to you. We will cinch that deal. We'll welcome you back. It's been a pleasure.
Wow, this is going to be wonderful.
We'll look for it. Thank you.
The Welk Show originated from the Aragon Ballroom on Lick Pier in Ocean Park. The pier and the Aragon are gone now, but one of the stars of the Welk Show was singer Roberta Lynn, known then as the Champagne Lady. Roberta currently works again for the Welk organization, and she recently returned to the site of the old Aragon to remember.
If you're going to do an impersonation of Lawrence Welk, every B is a P. Or it was in those days. My name was Roberta, and it was the poison to pant. And because of this, he would say things that came out a little different. And here's how he introduced one of the shows. I think it was our first television show. He said, "Good evening, my friends, and welcome to our very first TV show. Here from the beautiful Aragon Ballroom. Tonight, we got the Champagne Lady, Roberta Lynn, and all the poison depends, and we got a new arrangement in the key of G. Okay, boys, I want you all to pee on your toes now. A 1 and a 2 when to take it away." Well, I was 17 years old. I fibbed about my age, by the way. It had to be 20, really. I couldn't stop giggling. And Lawrence would say, "Roberta, if you just wouldn't giggle, nobody would know we made a mistake."
Roberta Lynn would later appear on 2 more KTLA shows in the 50s, Cafe Continental and The Orrin Tucker Show.
And featuring the KTLA Crystal Tone Orchestra.
I could have danced all night.
Bandstand Review, which had started back in 1949, was still going strong into the 50s, with Leighton Noble as host and orchestra leader.
We have a show today you can't be missing. KTLA. Bandstand Review with Leighton Noble to welcome all of you.
Powder your face with sunshine.
Sometimes we did as many as 30 tunes in an hour, if you can imagine that. That leaves 2 minutes for a song. And sometimes they were only a chorus. But we did that, the top 10 or top 20 tunes and so on.
Take the party, let's make some music. What will I play? The saxophone.
It was a madhouse. But really, the happiest days I think I've ever enjoyed in show business.
Thanks a lot for being with us. We'll see you next week, next Sunday night, 9 o'clock, KTLA Channel 5. Till then, good night.
In January of 1951, the LA TV ratings looked like this. 4th, Harry Owens and his Royal Hawaiians. 3rd, Spade Cooley. 2nd, Milton Berle. And 1st, Hopalong Cassidy. KTLA had 25 of the top 50 shows.
Space Patrol!
In the early 1950s, Channel 7 presented the ambitious science fiction series Space Patrol, live each weeknight, going where no man had gone before.
Notice you. I thought you were back out. Boy, oh boy, this is marvelous. Do you mind if I stay up here? Not at all, Happy. Sit down. This is absolutely unbelievable. I never dreamed that flying could be so wonderful.
From television, which took us where no man has gone before, we come to the Hollywood freeway, where much of the time no one man can go anywhere. But even back in the 1950s, there were times when the freeway was stopped cold, not by a traffic jam, but by a commercial. In a stunt that would be unthinkable today, the advertising agency for Oldsmobile somehow got permission to actually close down the Hollywood freeway so that it could film a commercial introducing its new 1955 models. And speaking of introducing new models, the 50s were a time when stars-to-be were just beginning on TV, and many established stars were making their first televised appearances.
The Buster Keaton Show.
At Channel 11, legendary silent movie star Buster Keaton was starring in his own live variety show.
BK, you look wonderful. You're in fine condition for the ring. You get over here and take care of the pail, and I'll take care of the stool. I told you to take it easy. How do you do? That's it. That's fine. That's fine.
Buster was in good hands with the help of his announcer, Ed Reimers.
We had come out to Los Angeles, and I was out of work. And I was looking for a job. And as a matter of fact, the first time I ever was acquainted with KTLA was right outside the office at the Paramount Gate. And I walked in to look for an interview, and everybody in town was in there. So I walked back out.
Newsman Chet Hutley was just getting his start on KECA Channel 7. This is a rare kinescope of one of his earliest broadcasts.
A glance at the map, I think, will suggest, first of all, what some of these difficulties are. Here we are down in this part of the world.
At Channel 13, Betty White was rapidly becoming a golden girl of local television with her show Life with Elizabeth, with Del Moore, first performed live and then on film.
Now, this is her car, and this is his car. This is Wilshire, this is Vine Street.
Wait a minute.
Now what?
Wilshire and Vine Street don't cross.
Well, if they don't, someone's tampering with our fair city.
Think a minute. What happens to Vine Street after it crosses Beverly Boulevard?
It goes underground and comes up in Catalina.
And also live on Channel 13, from the Music Hall Theater on Wilshire Boulevard, a young man with a gleaming smile and a glowing candelabra was beginning to make a mark as a TV charmer.
And I'd like to start my show with a little number that started out being a waltz some years ago, and since then, they've done all sorts of strange things with it, and that's exactly what I want to do right now to Rodgers and Hart's Lover.
In Hollywood at KNXT, Channel 2, a young comedian was just starting to build himself a reputation. His name was Johnny Carson.
Thank you very much for coming into the cellar tonight. It's a little bit cold tonight. In fact, I think that's why we got one young lady out there. Before the show, I said, "Why did you come and see the show?" And she says, "Because it was cold outside."
Now, here we have about an 8-pound turkey. Keep the turkey neat, and now we're ready to stuff the bird. Now, in stuffing a turkey, ladies, you must remember to don't stuff too hard. Just fill the cavity comfortably with the dressing. So this is the dressing right down into the turkey and move it up front. When you hold the turkey, move the dressing right down into the bottom of the turkey like that. That is the way we stuff the turkey here, and of course, if we must.
And while Johnny was struggling in Hollywood, a young man dressed in a clown suit was getting his start on a show called Big Top in Philadelphia. His name was Ed McMahon. Fred Astaire made his TV debut on the Oscar Levant Show on Channel 13.
And even the set is designed by me. These two stools on which Mr. Astaire and my wife are sitting are from my bar because...
Your bar?
Well, I don't drink, but we have a bar.
Oscar's Bar and Grill. It's...
The truth is, Channel 13 is a Trappist monastery in disguise.
The way your smile just beams, the way you sing off-key, the way you haunt my dreams. No, they can't take that away from me. We may never meet again on the bumpy road to love. Still I'll always, always keep the memory of the way you hold your knife.
Los Angeles live local programming was booming. From this building at 1313 North Vine, Channel 9, then called KHJ-TV, presented Queen for a Day, starring Jack Bailey.
Would you like to be queen for a day? Well, now you've heard each of our royal candidates. They've all been real swell. So please remember, you folks in the audience, when you vote, not to whistle or shout. We're going to keep it honest. Watch the applause indicator. They need a hot water heater. That's what she wants. She would like to have a job and a profession of her own. She would like a brand new suit for her 16-year-old boy number 3. She is very anxious to have twin high chairs for those little twins. I crown you Queen Leona, Queen for a day.
Channel 7 had Jack Rourke's Beauty Parade.
You know a lot about hot rods?
Oh, quite a bit. I have one myself.
You have your own hot rod?
Yeah.
There's a lady with... And what is with a hot rod? I never had much...
Well, I've done quite a bit on it. I've milled my heads to boost my compression ratio. And I have a dual exhaust system, because, you know, if you have a dual exhaust system, it relieves the back pressure of the engine. And, you know, back pressure is very detrimental to the engine.
You're telling me.
Speaking of beauty pageants, over at Channel 11, Bill Welch was hosting the Miss Universe pageant.
I remind you that they are always introduced in reverse order. That is, the fourth runner-up is the first girl to go on stage. Third runner-up second. The second runner-up is the third girl to appear on stage, if you follow my rather complicated figuring here. And the fourth girl to appear is the first runner-up, leaving then the one girl. Of course, when the fourth runner-up, the first runner-up, the fourth girl comes out, I'm getting confused here myself, then you know that who the remaining girl is, and you know that she is Miss Universe.
Channel 11 also carried the Golden Globe Awards in 1957. Bill Welch described this memorable moment.
Canteen flowers.
Canteen Flowers is trying to fly here from Tokyo, where his picture Fifi premiered last night, but Mickey Rooney is going to accept.
Who wants to be tall?
Baby boomers, this next section is for you. The children's shows of the 1950s on local Los Angeles television. The late Vance Colvig was Bozo the Clown on KTLA.
Hey, howdy, boys and girls. And I want to find out something here. Who would like prizes tonight, huh?
2 Pier 5 winners.
Also on Channel
KTLA,
5, Tom Hatton hosted Popeye cartoons.
Roller Derby Street King shoot skates to you just quicker than you can say Jack Robinson. That'll do his best. Okay.
For a couple of years, from like 52 to 54, I never appeared on camera. I just did the morning, Good Morning, this is Channel 5, KTLA, the key station of the Paramount Television Network. We were the only station on the Paramount Television Network, but we evaded that by saying the key station.
Engineer Bill Stilla, delighted the kids who came home to watch on Channel 9.
Bill saying, welcome to the Roundhouse.
How are we doing down there? Red light. Up. Up. Green light. We're going to catch you that green light. Red light. Green light. Red light. Ooh, I think we're about...
Skipper Frank hosted Cartoon Carousel on Channel 5.
Child on there.
Good morning. Good morning. Don't hang up.
Did you get it on?
Hello. Good morning. Is this Mr. Hender?
Oh, yes, it is.
Is Margaret there?
Yes, she is.
This is Skipper Frank. We're going to play the alarm clock game.
John Rovick was Sheriff John on KTTV for 18 years.
Come on now, laugh and be happy, and the world will laugh with you. When people see you smiling, they can't help smiling too.
After deciding on a Friday, they said, go to lunch and figure out what you're going to do, because you're going to start Monday doing a children's program. And I did, and went and bought a khaki shirt and a black tie and a pair of khaki pants at the Van Nuys Army-Navy store, and sat down Monday at 5:30 with Cartoon Time, which was the start of it. And later it became Lunch Brigade and Breakfast Brigade and all the other things.
Hi!
Pinky Lee appeared on Channel 7.
To you, look, the bright, bright sun shining through.
And Ding Dong School with Miss Francis was produced at KTLA.
Oh, what are you doing? Where? On the sofa?
Webster Webfoot and Jimmy Weldon were on Channel 13.
Get up, get out of bed.
And Captain Jet on Channel 2.
Who wants it?
It seems as though there was something for everyone in the 1950s on local TV. Folks who got up early in the morning could get in their exercise with Jack LaLanne on Channel 11.
Happy Monday morning. Hey, they're all my little boys and girls, my helpers. Boys and girls, come here. Did you have a nice weekend? Did you have fun this weekend?
And for those who stayed up late, KTLA pioneered all-night television with Larry Finley, seen here with Scatman Carruthers.
See, Scat, you said you're always ready. Yeah, 20 minutes, he's been ready. You ready now, Scat?
Yes, sir. You better know it.
Well, Scat, I'll tell you what we'll do.
Okay.
You go ahead and sing a song, Scat.
All righty. Let me get straight.
Here's where we are. 10625 Central Avenue in Ontario.
Let's do, the road is long and the night is dark. I don't mind because a happy lark will be singing at the end of the road.
Another show that could keep you up all night with nightmares was KTLA's Destruction Derby with Dick Lane.
Howard Walton driving a 48 Chrysler with that black car. Now, by the wall, the car's on fire directly before us here, right in front of the grandstand. Get those drivers out of there as quickly as you can. Unhook those drivers, get them out of there. These two cars are on fire. One of them back to you, one of the police is coming out head first. Get the extinguishers out, the fire crew is here. Look out for an explosion. Stay away from those cars. Our camera's within 10 feet of these cars.
Stay tuned.
And you could get the weather forecast from Jim Hawthorne on Channel 4.
Hello.
Hello, Hartorn. Oh, I'm sorry I was late.
Yeah.
I went for a walk with Gertie. She's my new girl.
Yeah, look, how is Gertie? By the way, you almost didn't make it, you know, Skip.
I know. I'm sorry. Oh, Gertie's fine.
Yeah.
You know, some girls can wiggle their ears.
Yeah.
Well, Gertie can swat flies with hers.
Yeah. You better give us the temperatures. What's the low for tonight, Skip?
Yes, 42 degrees.
42.
And tomorrow's expected high temperature, 75 degrees.
I'm glad to hear
A landmark Western produced for syndication by Ziv Television in 1950 was the Cisco